kids, it's almost like you almost transforming into Jack Bauer now
Yeah.
to save
Yeah.
his
Oh,
kids now from
absolutely.
father.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
It's so ugly.
You know, when I was a kid, I would have loved to have lived in a place like this.
What's in there?
That's the cellar.
Hi, Elisha, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Greetings from Bilbao. First of all, I don't know if you probably not even heard the Cellar's being picked up for the Fant Festival over here next month.
Oh, wonderful. No, I didn't know that. That's great.
It just came out about an hour ago, the news. So yeah, so congratulations on that. Yeah.
Yay. I love it. I love it. It's so great. We were at South by Southwest, and I mean, to be around people and to see the movie in a theater was just like overwhelming. It was really amazing.
I can imagine, yeah. So, I mean, tell me a little bit. I mean, it's been a little while since you've been in the horror industry again. I mean, I think the last one was it Captivity with 2007. Would I be right in saying that was the last one?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Was there a specific reason why you kind of swerved away from that a little bit? Because I know you kind of like to kind of mix and match things around a little bit. But what made you come back now this time as a mother rather than a kind of scream team that we were used to you before when you did those films?
Yeah, I mean, to answer your question about sort of waiting a long time to sort of get back in the genre of it all, I mean, one, the right script obviously in the genre has to come along, but also I always tend to pivot every time I finish one thing. It's like I don't know, for some reason I immerse myself in that certain particular genre, whether that's comedy or drama or horror or whatever it may be, and then once I've sort of finished it, it's always that, I don't know, that thing that draws me to go something new. I got to do something completely new. And then, yeah, it's interesting. This script came along, and I had seen Brendan's short film, which the
Right.
movie is based on. And I thought it was really intriguing. And then when I read the feature, I thought, wow, one, without giving anything away, there was some real interesting twists that I thought were really interesting. That kind of took me back, that I wasn't ready for. So I thought, oh wow, if that's sort of on the page happening, this could be interesting on film. And then also too, yeah, I think finding myself now with my own children and wanting to explore characters that are in that realm of sort of where I'm at emotionally, and I think I could relate to the idea of a woman who would sort of go to the ends of the earth to save her children. So yeah, I definitely drew on that. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I mean, you said they're saving your kids. It's almost like you were almost transforming into Jack Bauer now to
Yeah.
save
Yeah.
his
Oh,
kids now from
absolutely.
father. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so weird to be. That didn't sort of escape me when I was filming. I definitely was looking at Abby Fitz, who plays Ellie in the film, and I saw so much of myself at that time, during 24, and I thought, here I am in sort of Kiefer's shoes,
Yeah.
playing the parent, and understanding, wow, there's a lot to draw on there, and the frustration of having a child who's sort of in peril, So yeah, it was interesting, and I thought, wow, here I am, sort of, full circle.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And I mean, you mentioned that obviously it kind of talks about the mother-daughter relationship, mother-children relationship. Something that really opened my eyes, 'cause I've got two small kids as well, was it doesn't kind of delve into it too deeply, but it does hint towards kind of the way that we don't really see everything that's going on, and it's kind of the most important things that are going on for the kids. We don't really spot them, especially
No.
someone who kind of like you in the film works in the kind of business where she was getting harassed
Yeah.
without going into too much of the plots. That must have kind of been really eye-opening for you at the same time as kind of drawing you to take the part now.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, even though this is sort of like a fun horror ride, there's a real story element to the film as well. So there's real character development there, and there really is a dynamic between the mother and the daughter, and the whole family dynamic too. I mean, I think you're seeing two parents who really want, and I think a lot of people can relate to this, so much more for their children, that sometimes they get sort of swept away and don't realize that they're missing so much in sort of the pursuit of this sort of perfect lifestyle and this perfect life. So really, really busy with work, and not really seeing their children the way they need to be seen. So yeah, it opened my eyes up. I read that and I thought, wow, that really makes a lot of sense. And we get so busy in our own lives that, and especially myself, I mean, I'm traveling so much, and yeah, to really make sure that we're eyes open and watching our children for sure.
I need you to watch Steven tonight.
So you're leaving us here on our first night.
Something I thought was a really interesting balance that must have been quite complicated for you was, I mean, we see you kind of this fat cat owner of a business, kind of running this business, this advertisement business, and she's kind of, you'd be expected to be more of the skeptic, and she goes down this rabbit hole with what's happened to her daughter. That must be quite a complicated balance to kind of go from
Yeah.
one side of the spectrum to the other in 90 minutes, no?
Yeah, a little bit, but also, what I thought was, even though, she's a very logical thinker, obviously, and she's, like you said, she's very much, focused and, logical. And then so to sort of start believing in this sort of, dark sort of evil, and other realms, let's say, what I think grounded it for me, and the believability of it, is that Brendan really created this world through mathematics, which
Yeah.
I thought was really interesting. So, and very logical. So symbols and mathematical equations. I thought, wow, what an interesting, new, unique way to play sort of another realm, which could be totally feasible because it's sort of in science. And
Mhm.
so, I mean, one of my favorite scenes is the one with Dr. Fournier, where she meets this sort of genius who's
Yeah,
you know
I love that scene as well. Yeah.
yeah, this guy all of a sudden had an accident, and now he's a brilliant sort of, he can see numbers in a way that no one
Yeah.
else can. So I thought that was so intriguing, which maybe I think helps this character go, oh, okay, if he's seeing it, maybe there is something here.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I thought that was really brilliant of Brendan to sort of incorporate. So I always say, because I was always terrible at math, so like, another interviewer we had said, math is the devil's work. So I thought that was really funny.
Brilliant. Exactly. And then I want to talk about something that maybe was, I imagine was kind of a luxury for you, was the fact that despite you going over to, I think you went over to Ireland during COVID, no?
Yeah.
You got the silver lining to that was that the fact that you got 2 weeks to spend with the cast and crew, that it's a luxury that I imagine most of the time you don't get, no?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think as much as it was, sort of do or die at that point to get the film done, because if anyone ended up with COVID, we were going to get shut down. So we had that sort of, that over our heads, and there was a little bit of a panic and a pressure there to keep everyone healthy and safe in our bubble. But the silver lining absolutely was the fact that I don't think there'll ever be another film where I can, away from family, away from the kids, away from everything, away from all the hustle and bustle of, regular life. I mean, even to the point where we couldn't even go to a restaurant. I mean, I was really 2 weeks hunkered down in this cottage in the middle of Ireland, in the countryside, could really just focus on the film and break down the script and prep, and really just be with myself and peace and quiet. It was like nothing I'd ever gotten to do before. So yeah, it was great.
Uh-huh. And I wanted to ask you a little bit about the inspiration. I was talking to Brendan yesterday, and he told me about the inspiration. One film was obviously The
Oh
Haunting,
yeah.
and then he
The
also
Haunting.
mentioned the comic The 13th Floor. Did he mention those to you? And was there anything else specific that he mentioned to you that to kind of help you to kind of get into this world that he wanted to create?
Yeah, I don't recall him mentioning those films, because I think those were things he was drawing on when he was writing specifically.
Hmm.
But we definitely talked about tone and sort of the visual of everything, and that he really wanted to go into a sort of atmospheric place where there was going to be a slow build to these real jump scares. So we definitely were on the same page as far as like orchestrating shots and making sure that there was sort of that camera and actor sort of dance. Um and then also what really helped was the house being actually a location and not any sort of CGI or a fake set. We were really filming in this home, which ended up being sort of another character for me, and like an actor, playing off another actor. I mean, playing off this house was such an amazing thing to be able to do, and to have. So it was really, I think that brings something to the film for sure.
And then I was reading, I don't know if this is from a long way back, but it said between shoots, you're always really giddy and dancing around and singing and things like that to kind of, I don't know if it was just to keep yourself kind of happy or to keep the whole crew, cast and crew happy. Is that something that you still do, even in a horror film like this, to kind of keep morale going?
Yeah, I think it's always nice to have a good time on set, especially when you're making like, these sort of intense films. So we, and with COVID, we really became this amazing family because we were all sort of in this bubble together, so, but yeah, it's always nice to have a good time and, have a good time with the cast and the crew offset. Absolutely. I think it's so important to enjoy the experience, and not take it too seriously. But then, when it comes down to it and we start getting into like the real physical scenes and the real horror of it all, you really have to, I think the more comfortable you are with the crew, the more comfortable you can be in your performance, for me anyway. So, yeah, it's always great to have a good time.
So then that was funny. I was speaking to Brendan yesterday, was about your hair.
Yeah.
Because he was kind of from the word guy, I think he was looking for someone. Well, it didn't have to be a brunette, but he was hoping to get a brunette. And I think he was kind of dreading having to say, "Do you mind dyeing your hair?" And you kind of let him off the hook. And you kind of
I didn't realize that. Yeah, what's so funny, when I read the script, I just kept picturing this brunette woman, this dark brunette woman, and I thought, that felt more tonally what I was reading in my mind and in my thoughts about this script. I mean, I know it's a physical thing or whatever, but superficial. But I remember actually at the end of our first conversation, I said, by the way, Brendan, how do you feel about her being brunette? And he went, "Oh, I'm so glad you mentioned that." So I thought, "Oh, that's great. We were both on the same page of, aesthetically." So that was good too, actually. That always helps.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, brilliant. So just to finish off, then we're running out of time. There's one thing that I want to ask you, man. You've got quite a few projects coming up, but one thing that really interests me is this crime thriller you've got called Bandits, alongside Mel Gibson and Josh Duhamel. I can't wait to see that. Is there anything you can tell us about that?
Yeah, I think basically it's one of these stories that was so intriguing to me, and I was so excited to get on the project because I am Canadian, and this was a real, true Canadian story, and I haven't gotten to really tackle a lot of Canadian content, so this was really appealing on that level for me. But yeah, it's a story about Canada's most notorious bank robber, and the journey he takes and how his life sort of unfolds from escaping the U.S., fleeing the U.S., and then assuming a new identity in Canada and living out the rest of his life there, and really getting into some serious trouble. And it takes place in the 80s, so really, and early 90s. So the great thing is too, you get to see this, take place in a different time and over a long period of time. So I get to play a character from, inception of like the beginning of their relationship towards the end. So yeah, a lot of really cool stuff we got to do on that film, and I'm hoping that it'll come out maybe the end of this year or maybe the beginning of next. So yeah, definitely look out for Bandit. It's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, no, I can't wait to see it. Yeah, it's a great cast. Yeah. Well, listen, we're out of time. So thanks very much, Elisha. It's been really good to speak to you.
Thank you.
Best of luck with the release on Shudder. I'll be rooting for you here in Bilbao when the film's screening, and I hope to speak to you again sometime soon.
Yes, I hope so. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No, that's great. All right, cheers then. Have a good day. Bye now.
Yes, you too. Bye.
Epsilon.
There's something in there. It looks like Ellie.
It's here.
Steven. Mom. Steven.